When we juggle justice stop in Nigeria, imagine you buying your nephew because he no agree marry you. The next thing you said, oh, he don't blaspheme against the prophet. You gang up people, stone her to death. Then you burn the body. Why this kind of things they happen? Now because there's no persecution. It happens when Deborah was by the same way and burnt. Nobody was arrested. So it's not a trend. You can offend somebody now and they'll go gang up their friends and say that person has blasphemed against the prophet. They'll stone you to death, burn the body, even burn your house. This is what is going on in Nigeria. This is a sad incident that happened in Niger State. That should not happen in 2025. If you claim someone blasphemed, there should be authority that you submit the person to, that will investigate. Not you taking laws into your hand. Jungle justice in 2025. This is bad.
From Niger State, where a female food seller known as Amaye was reportedly killed by a mob of angry youth over alleged blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad. The incident reportedly occurred in the Mariga local government area of the state on Friday, August 29th. These images are an illustration of the incident and are not the images of the scene. Well, according to eyewitnesses, the incident began when the female food vendor was in a conversation with her nephew, who reportedly asked for her hand in marriage. She's said to have responded with comments that are considered blasphemous, which in turn angered a crowd of young people. The mob demanded her immediate execution, and she was ultimately stoned to death and set ablaze. Well, we have a report at this moment from the Niger State Police Command stating that it is intensifying efforts to arrest the perpetrators of this killing. The police spokesman, Superintendent Wasiu Abiodun, say they condemn any act of jungle justice and added that efforts are being made to ensure that the killers are investigated and persecuted. Amnesty International is reporting that between 2012 and 2023, mobs killed 555 Nigerians, 32 of whom were burned alive. While reacting to the news in a post on X, Amnesty International stated, in part, that the lynching of Amaye following an exchange with a young man is deplorable, and authorities must ensure those responsible for her death are immediately arrested and brought to justice. That a mob overpowered security personnel and instantly lynched her shows utter disregard for the sanctity of life and due process. The Nigerian authorities must curtail the impunity that has led to an increase in mob violence and arrest all those involved in this reprehensible act, and also ensure that they are held to account. My heart broke with this story.
Yeah, this is so sad. Another life lost due to what is considered blasphemous statement. And of course, when you talk about this, you cannot but remember lovely Deborah Samuel from Sokoto.
Yes.
You know why this keeps happening again and again? Because there doesn't seem to be consequences for such actions. The two students identified in the Deborah case, what happened to them? Have they been persecuted? Have they faced time for what they've done? There are people who have come on social media.
And then some release.
Nothing concrete has happened. Nothing concrete has happened to them. And so that is why, years later, another innocent girl would be killed by a group of people who have deemed in their own personal court of law and by their own estimation what ought to be the punishment for her infraction to have killed a woman who just went out to do her job. And so what I'm saying is that we keep talking about religious intolerance, Nigeria being a secular state, and yet some people taking laws into their own hands in the name of religion. But I think the biggest issue is that we often look the other way, including very prominent members of society who see these things happening and say nothing about it so as not to offend a certain base. Until we're serious enough to handle this and actually bring the people who are the perpetrators to book, we're not going anywhere. I'm so sad that this has happened. And it actually happened that they took the girl to the palace, so a traditional leader was involved. Yet they said he handed her over, and then the security operatives who were there were not able to contain this. Are we joking? So, those are the kind of questions they ask.
I heard the statistics. 555 people have been killed so far within that time
Audrey,
frame.
It will
31 burned alive.
Yes, it will happen again, because when Eunice Olawale and Bridget were beheaded. Should we even go back to the days of the Akalukas of this world? When all of that happened, nothing happened. In fact, you didn't even tell the story well. When people protested about Deborah Samuel's case, you know what happened? There was a riot in Sokoto that day that for 2 days, religious homes were targeted, were destroyed. Till today, nothing came out of that case. Oji, let's not dismiss it. The police will just stop. Nothing will come out of this. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar deleted his tweets.
Yes,
he was till tomorrow. When they asked him in a panel, he said, "Oh, you know, I normally sign off my tweet and everything." He tweeted before. He deleted his tweets. Yes. So let's call a spade a spade. We deceive ourselves too much in this country. Nothing will happen.
Well, may her soul rest in perfect.
It's sad.
It's really sad situation.
Nothing
it's good
will
that
happen.
The police has responded, and we really would like for those people to be named and shamed at this point.